Shortly after dawn, in the fishing port of Nha Trang, and indeed throughout the whole of Vietnam, a daily event takes place that has all but disappeared from other countries in Asia-Pacific. A rush hour conducted more or less on 2 or 3 wheels. Vietnam is one of the least developed Asia-Pacific countries. Every aspect of everyday life has been held back by decades of wars of one kind or another. Every branch of economic activity, from transport to industry to agriculture, has been almost frozen in a time warp. At 80%, Vietnam still has one of the highest proportions of rural dwellers in Asia-Pacific. 3/4 of the farm economy is on an entirely subsistence basis. Yet in spite of this position at the lower end of the Asia-Pacific ladder, the economic outlook could be promising. Vietnam has a long list of natural resources. Along every bit of the 2,000-kilometer coastline are rich fishing grounds. The land contains huge quantities of minerals like coal and oil. And thanks to fertile soils and a favorable climate, the potential for agriculture is considerable. With these opportunities in mind, the government is well into a serious development program to pull the country up from subsistence level. It targets agriculture, manufacturing, and minerals. But priority number 1 is something else. And the town of Nha Trang finds itself slap bang in the middle of it. The flight from Ho Chi Minh, the country's largest city, transports to Nha Trang 60 or so people, half of whom, for the last year or so, have been a new brand of visitor: tourists. As yet, it's only handfuls of people, but the effects are already seeping into Nha Trang's way of life. Polluting industries are barred from setting up anywhere near Nha Trang's attractive stretch of coastline. And the town has been designated a tourism development zone. This new promise of work has magnetized the town's informal economy. Van Tam Lee is 20 years old, a bicycle taxi driver and a street trader specializing in selling stamp albums. Tourism has tempted thousands of young people from poor rural families to leave home and take to the road.
I like the tourists. They've made a good impression on me. Even when they don't buy the stamps, they still say thank you. Come to think of it, tourists are one of the most important things in my life. They're crucial to my career. The more tourists we get in Nha Trang, the better it is for business.
Towards the end of 1997, Nha Trang's otherwise uncrowded beachfront received its biggest boost ever. The second of Vietnam's international-style beach resorts opened here. The upmarket design and the carefully planned environment are absolutely crucial for any resort development that wants to grab the wealthy end of Asia-Pacific's tourist business. Competition from nearby countries like Thailand and Malaysia, with long track records in tourism, is fierce. The resort is a joint venture between the Vietnamese government and a British company working out of Hong Kong. The resort's strategy has been to go for a local Vietnamese look wherever possible, right down to how to get the luggage to the rooms. Compared with other forms of economic development, tourism isn't that capital intensive. Whereas manufacturing needs high levels of investment, tourism is reckoned to be quick, cheap, and the creator of lots of jobs. The resort has generated 150 of them. And the effects go beyond the resort's own territory. Tourism is having a strong multiplier effect on the local economy. This trickle-down influence travels a long way beyond Nha Trang's urban area into the rural hinterland. As the number of fish being caught goes up, craftsmen have more nets to make, at least for now, before they're squashed by the factories that will inevitably come. And farmers are taking land out of rice cultivation and switching to more profitable vegetables destined for tourist consumption. Thi Tuong Vi is the food buyer for the new resort. In its first 6 months, the resort has been full on 3 occasions, no mean feat in the cutthroat hotel business. And the reason behind Thi Tuong's daily trips to the market and the need to get to know the people who are going to give the best deals.
When I first applied for a job at the resort, it was for the post of cashier. But after 2 months of training, my boss suggested to the director that I should transfer to the buying department because he thought I was energetic, lively, and good with people. It's hard work, but that suits me, and I've put a lot of effort into it. There was a lot of competition for the job, so I'm very pleased about the whole thing. The pay's reasonable, considering the cost of living here isn't very high.
The Vietnamese know a lot about food. Their cuisine is extremely rich, their climate and soils superb for agriculture, their fishing grounds well stocked. But how to use this knowledge in a new situation, like feeding hundreds of foreign guests in a new resort, means that people have to develop new skills. For Thi Tuong, this entails a mixture of public relations and mental arithmetic.
Tourism is making a big impact. Nha Trang is a small place, and there aren't many factory jobs going. Life here has improved since the resort opened. The number of tourists has increased. They're keen to go shopping, visit markets, and more goods get sold.
When I meet my friends, the talk is about business. I try to find out where the best business opportunities are in the country so that I know what's going on in other places. Traders move all over the country. I've worked all over the north and the south, in Hanoi, Dalat, Saigon, and Dak. I like living in Nha Trang. I've made lots of friends, all sorts of friends.
After lunch each day, Tam is allowed an hour at the entrance to the lobby of the new resort. A friend of his who works in the kitchen fixed it with the resort manager. The manager thought that the stamp albums were a sufficiently respectable product. And so, he said, was Tam.
My secret is smile. When I first go up to somebody, I give them a smile and then do the pitch. I reckon being cheerful influences people's decision to buy. I think I'm pretty happy myself anyway, but I've learned a lot just by watching other traders.
You have different ones?
Yes, I have more.
You don't have long to build up a relationship with a customer. You have to know about what you're selling and be able to talk about it. People also get to like me more if I get them talking. Even if I don't sell anything, I always make a point of saying a polite goodbye. You never know, they may change their mind.
Yeah, I was just looking at these here.
Today, Tam has managed to elbow his way further into the plush depths of the new resort. He's been allowed to call on the gift shop manager. Tam's proposal is to supply the shop with stamp albums that he'll bring from Ho Chi Minh City, 350 kilometers away. The manager likes the idea, but only red albums, only Vietnamese stamps, nothing foreign, and a trial deal for 20 albums to start with. To Tam, this sounds reasonable. Tam will sell each album to the resort for about £8. He'll hope to buy them in Ho Chi Minh City for £6. As often happens, life on the road and the informal economy is about to take an unexpected turn. Ho Chi Minh City, here we come.
In Ho Chi Minh City, there are lots of tourists, but the competition is tough. I worked here once, and I could make £8 or £10 a day, but I got caught up with some dodgy characters. So I just come here to buy the albums now from different suppliers. My dream, actually, is to buy a plot of land and build a house. Then, if I have enough money, I want to get married and settle down. Come to think of it, I don't much like moving around all over the place anymore. It's not doing me any good. There is more happiness in having a family than leading the life of a wanderer.
The potential for tourism in Vietnam is massive. The coastline is 2,000 kilometers long, and so far there are only 2 international standard hotels on it. Inland, there are other untouched landscapes, some of which have yet to be seen by anybody from outside the country. And then there is everyday Vietnam. It won't last very long, of course. But meanwhile, it's a fascinating sight for visitors who may come from a country thousands of miles away, where the daily routine is one of commuting 9 to 5. Yet if more people do come to see, and if Vietnam does succeed in developing a big tourist industry, doesn't that mean that all this will be ruined, like has already happened in certain spots in neighboring countries?
I don't think tourism is going to wreck Vietnam. We have a very long history and a strong culture, and people are still proud of it. We still wear traditional things like conical hats made out of leaves, and women still wear the long split tunic, the áo dai. In my opinion, Vietnam is not going to make the same mistakes with tourism as other countries.